Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Thanks for joining us for Big Fox News tonight. I'm Scott Beadle. A major winter storm is set to spread snow, sleet, and freezing rain from the Rockies to the Midwest to parts of the Northeast. We have team coverage tonight, starting with meteorologist Monica McNeil, who tells us how much snow to expect and when to expect it. Monica.
As this very significant winter system takes shape, we're now under a winter storm watch, and that is going to last right on through Thursday. The watch does consist of very heavy mixed precipitation, basically meaning we are going to see freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Your snow accumulations will be between about 4 and 7 inches of snow, and then we could pick up about 1/10 of an inch of ice. So over the next couple of days, we've got one more day of decent weather, mostly cloudy skies for Wednesday. Then that wintry mix will begin to show up for us on Thursday. I'll have more details for you coming up in our full weather.
All right, thank you, Monica. Continuing our team coverage now, Big Fox's Matt Kleindienst is in Corning with a look at how southern tier communities are preparing for the winter storm.
Good evening, Scott. Highway departments across the region are preparing for more snow and ice, and one official tells me they're already preparing the roads for the upcoming storm. The southern tier will be under a winter storm warning beginning Wednesday night. In anticipation for new layers of snow and ice, local highway departments are beginning to prepare the roads.
We're pre-treating some roads with brine. It's a solution that reduces the adhesion of snow and ice to the road surfaces.
Jason French of the Chemung County Highway Department says crews will be working to keep over 370 miles of roads clear over the next 3 days. He says the snow left over from the last winter storm will present a challenge when preparing for the next wave.
Trying to get it back as far as possible, even to push it up onto the right-of-way, the grass area, to create room for this upcoming storm. Because if not, then you're looking at being out on the road, 3 feet on each side of the road. Narrows your roadway.
French is asking residents to move their cars off the street so they don't impede the cleanup efforts.
If you have a driveway, please park in your driveway. If you have off-street parking, park off-street parking, park in a neighbor's driveway.
He adds that residents should stay off the roads and avoid unnecessary driving during the storm. Early forecasts indicate that the southern tier will get up to 9 inches of snow over the next 3 days. Matt Kleindienst, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
New York's indoor mask mandate for businesses has been extended until February 10th. Governor Hochul announced the extension on Friday, saying the move will give the state time to assess the severity of COVID cases. This comes after an appellate judge temporarily reinstated the mandate after it was struck down by the state's Supreme Court. The school mask mandate will remain in place until February 21st. Kids as young as 6 months old could soon be getting their COVID shots. Doug Luzader has more from Washington, where the White House may also be battling COVID fatigue.
According to the AP, you have the government here really prodding Pfizer to submit this emergency use application, which could make kids from 6 months to 5 years old eligible for the vaccine.
All done.
The kids 5 and older have been getting Pfizer's COVID vaccine for months now. But the company's next move, at the urging of the federal government, according to the Associated Press, could make kids as young as 6 months old eligible.
I like all vaccines for kids.
A Fox medical contributor, Dr. Mark Siegel, supports the vaccines, but when it comes to kids, he knows what parents will say.
I think parents are going to say, what about adults? You have a 63% vaccination rate in the United States. If adults aren't getting vaccinated, why should my young child?
We got a way to go on that, in my view, but we're moving.
President Biden yesterday speaking with the nation's governors about his COVID response. A new Monmouth poll shows that large majorities of Republicans and independents say we need to accept COVID now and learn to live with it.
This is not the new normal.
The White House is sensitive to the growing fatigue, and the Washington Post reports that the administration has considered replacing the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Javier Becerra. Mask and vaccine requirements in some areas continue to create tension. One D.C. restaurant owner just lost his liquor license because, he says, of compliance issues.
These bartenders and servers, they're not second-class citizens. They should be able to choose for themselves whether they want to wear their mask or not.
And as for the vaccine, the AP says kids as young as 6 months old could be cleared to get a 2-dose regimen before the end of the month. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
President Biden has promised a decision about his nominee to replace retiring Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer. Today, he met with some of the lawmakers who will see his nominee through the Senate. Lauren Blanchard has more from Washington.
With the start of February comes the hunt for a Supreme Court nominee in earnest. President Biden Tuesday is meeting with the Senate Judiciary's chairman Dick Durbin and ranking member Chuck Grassley. Whoever the president nominates will need to make it through that committee before a full Senate vote.
I think the president is going to select a woman, a black woman, who is qualified, who is prepared, who has impeccable experience to serve on the court.
No gaming the system. The White House says they won't just choose a candidate they think can be easily confirmed. Republicans say the nominee should be someone both parties can get behind.
The American people handed President Biden a dead-even Senate, 50-50. I suggest that President Biden bear this in mind.
A short list is growing in D.C. circles, all black women. Some have already been vetted by Congress.
If it's somebody who's already been vetted that we put on one of the benches before a circuit or district, that'll make it go even quicker.
Justice Stephen Breyer is expected to step down this summer as long as his replacement is named and confirmed. The president has promised a nominee decision by the end of February.
I really don't have a big problem with him singling out a particular demographic group, as long as he doesn't diminish the qualifications part of it.
The White House has not named the official who will help shepherd the nominee through Congress. Outside the Supreme Court, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
The Elmira City Council has approved a new attraction for Eldridge Park. The park's Carousel and Preservation Committee will be installing a new splash pad paid for exclusively through donations. In a statement, Mayor Dan Mandel says that families will enjoy this new attraction for years to come. Eldridge Park will reopen on Memorial Day weekend. Still ahead tonight, Olympic officials say climate change is making it harder to find suitable cities to host the Winter Games.
It makes me sad that we need so much man-made snow to sustain winter sports.
The latest on what climate experts predict regarding the Winter Games, and what hope the International Olympic Committee has for future cities hosting them.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Hi everyone, welcome back. This weather forecast is being brought to you by William Mattar. One more day of the dry, quiet, pretty mild weather out there, and then we will begin to see things really starting to change. For the rest of tonight, it's just going to be cold out there. We're down to about 24 degrees. And when you factor in that light wind, it could feel like it's a little bit colder than that, as it could feel like it's in the low 20s. Future radar for tonight, again, reinforcing there is not much happening tonight, but we begin to see the clouds moving back into our forecast for Thursday. We really see those clouds increasing in the day by the mid-afternoon, and then as we get into the evening hours, we begin to see some of that precipitation showing up just to the west of us. Again, this Arctic blast of cold air is associated with a very powerful cold front that will be moving in our direction. For that reason, a winter storm watch goes into effect Wednesday through Friday. We are expecting to see some heavy mixed precipitation. We could see snow accumulations between about 4 and 7 inches, and then we could pick up about 1/10 of an inch of ice. And just any ice can be a total nuisance. So if you have a plan, try to stay at home, go ahead and get those groceries or whatever it is that you need to do, get it done now so that you're not out moving around in this weather. All right, let's take a look at the weather headlines for you. So we will salvage Wednesday, mainly cloudy Wednesday. We'll just see those clouds moving in. Thursday is when we'll begin to see that wintry mix. Again, that winter storm watch is in effect right on through the end of the week, and then chances of snow for us on Friday. For tonight, here's a look at your forecast. Increasing clouds, and wind chill could be between 10 and about 20, so it is going to be quite chilly out there with a south wind at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. For your day tomorrow, considerable cloudiness. All of that moisture out ahead of the cold front that is tracking across the country. 40 degrees is going to be the high. Here's a look at what you can expect over the next several days. So we'll stay cloudy for your day on Wednesday. Overnight low down to about 30. And then Thursday is when we'll see the wintry mix. Again, we do have the chance for seeing freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Accumulation of snow between about 4 and 7 inches with a high of only 31. Another cold day on Friday and another round of snow.
The Winter Olympics start this Friday, but climate experts say if you want to see more of them in the future, greenhouse gas emissions need to come under control. Kevin Cork has more on how climate change is threatening the Winter Games.
The Winter Olympics happen every 4 years, but thanks to climate change, the future of these historic games is getting unpredictable, as officials say the warming planet is making it harder to find suitable cities to host the events.
It makes me sad that we need so much man-made snow to sustain winter sports.
A possible host city doesn't need to have snow, but it does need to be cold enough for man-made snow to stick. But even that's becoming more of a challenge, with NASA and NOAA ranking the last 8 years as the hottest on record.
We need those really cold temperatures for them to be able to blow the snow. Those temperatures are coming later and later in the year.
If the world continues on this path, by 2050, climate experts say about half of the 19 previous Winter Olympic locations will be inadequate to ever host the Games again.
In the Sochi Games, the half-pipe was melting while we were competing on it. They were spraying some chemicals on it to try to get it to stay in shape.
And athletes also say climate change is altering the sites they use as training grounds for the Games.
South America, where we used to train every summer, like August, September, they've had no snow for several years in a row, like none.
But there is some hope. The International Olympic Committee is mandating any future host city be climate positive, removing more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere than it emits. And this year's Beijing Olympics are expected to be climate neutral, with officials saying all the venues will be powered by renewable energy.
A new report reveals there's been a spike in violent crime across America's biggest cities. The Council on Criminal Justice finds murders have gone up by 44% since the start of the pandemic. Rebecca Castor reports from New Orleans, where a local church is doing its part to try and lower the crime rate.
Every person killed from New Orleans to Baton Rouge has their name added to this wall. It's known here locally as the city's murder board, and it stands outside a church in the heart of New Orleans. With hundreds of names listed, it tells the story of over a decade's worth of murder in South Louisiana.
It is a stark reminder about the human loss. What it simply does is present a name, an age, and a method of murder. And we found that that has huge impact and great power to it.
Father Bill Terry of St. Anna's Episcopal Church in New Orleans started the murder board in 2007 after a year of violent crime. 15 years later, he says very little has changed.
We haven't addressed the issue of murders in our cities in any significant, substantial, long-term way. If it's getting worse, there's more of a necessity to tell the story of urban violence or violence wherever the community may be.
It's Deacon Luigi Mendile's job to update the board.
The last month or so, I will put down a list of minimum 13 to 14 names between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. It's a real lot. I just think everybody should be remembered. It's a reminder of what's happening here in our city. It is out of control.
Homicides are already spiking in major cities this year. New York City and Los Angeles have hit 20 murders. Chicago and Houston are over 30 in just 1 month of the new year. Sergeant Latina Jolivet works in the Victims Assistance Unit for the New Orleans Police Department. She has a message for families waiting for justice.
Any information that you think could be helpful, share that information with the detective. You never know what's important to the case. We haven't forgotten about them. They are important.
And this Episcopal church hasn't forgotten them either.
Showing a community that their son or daughter has value has a lot of power to it. I've had mothers come to me and say, I didn't think anybody cared about my baby. But you do, because their name is there.
Crime analysts say the increase in both legal and illegal guns is driving up homicide rates. Last year, officers here took 2,000 guns off the streets.
Many college degree seekers believe the cost of getting that degree makes it unreachable. A bestcolleges.com survey of 2,500 adults found nearly 2/3 of college degree seekers believe the cost of earning a degree makes it inaccessible for many, rising tuition costs being the biggest barrier. More than half believe earning that degree does improve your employment potential, while 1/4 of four-year degree holders don't believe the cost of higher education is worth it. The main financial reasons that people are choosing not to attend college: student debt, living expenses, groceries, childcare, and transportation. Expecting a tax refund from the IRS and hope to get it faster? Then file your return electronically and as soon as possible. The IRS is warning the 2022 tax season will be a challenging one that could bring potential complications and delays for taxpayers. That's due to a large number of unprocessed paper returns that the agency is still dealing with. Approximately 3/4 of filers received a refund last year, averaging around $2,800. A San Francisco-based illustrator created a virtual drawing class that went viral early on during the pandemic. Ashley Dvorkin shows us what it has to offer kids and families.
Oh yeah, it's time to draw.
The interactive art-making online show Draw Together, created in the early days of the pandemic, has been helping kids of all ages learn how to build curiosity, connection, and self-confidence through drawing.
We definitely do learn about drawing. We learn about line and shape and perspective and all that fun kind of stuff. But we also learn about recognizing our emotions.
With tens of thousands of kids around the world logging in to watch the classes on Instagram Live, founder and best-selling illustrator Wendy McNaughton decided to expand to YouTube.
We found that there was such a huge response and such a huge need and desire for this that we went on to build a whole handmade set and actually produce a pilot season of Draw Together, 12 episodes, where we had guests come in from all over the world. We have cool animation in it and music.
Schools and teachers can also sign up for the program to use it as part of their curriculum.
There's so much less art funding right now. There's so many schools that don't have any kind of art classes that are available to them. So we launched Draw Together Classrooms, which is providing Draw Together and art education, socio-emotionally based art education to kids all over the US. Our pilot program right now has 100 classrooms in 30 states, and it's going great. And we are aiming to have 10,000 classrooms by 2023.
Anyone interested in Draw Together can head to their website.
Our website is drawtogether.studio and drawtogether.studio/classrooms. It's a circle!
Now to some frank heart-to-heart talk about not getting hearts or gifts for Valentine's Day. A YouGov.com poll says almost 20% of Americans are okay with not getting gifts for the day. But people aren't skipping out on all the special gestures. 33% would like a card, 29% say they'd like a nice dinner out, and that does include 23% of men saying wine and dine me. 28% overall say chocolates or candy are sweet. We want to leave you with a smile tonight. Australia's government is stepping up to protect a beloved animal species that's ravaged by diseases and recent brush fires. Australia says it will spend an additional $35 million over the next 4 years to protect koala habitats and help slow the decline in population. Koalas have been decimated by diseases such as chlamydia and recent brush fires in 2019 and 2020. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison says the money spent is important in the future of protecting them and in helping scientific knowledge about them to grow. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.